Unlocking the Mind. Today, we're going to explore 5 science backed reasons why mental health is deteriorating. From the social media loneliness grip to the stress epidemic. Hi, this is transformation specialist Narado Zeco Powell. And there's no secret that mental health has become a bigger issue and is deteriorating all over the world. And by the end of this episode, I want you to start by identifying one or multiple areas so you can begin on working on it and getting on that journey to better health. The first area I want to talk about is the social media influence. In fact, see, the research suggests that excessive use of social media can contribute to feelings of loneliness, anxiety, even fear and depression, especially among the younger demographics, because they're often set with these unrealistic expectations and comparisons, and even leads to, and I'm sure you heard this before, FOMO. Now, we may not realize how harmful this is, but when you're growing up in a society and you're always feeling like you're missing out on something, or I'm not as good as this other person is, or I don't have this, these things lead to depression and sadness. And that's with social media being such a huge part of our society, that's the first place we need to begin. When we just give our children a pad and say, go play over there, leave us alone, we are setting them up for failure. And then they become adults who are still addicted to these things and don't know how to separate themselves. They oftentimes don't know how to separate reality from what they see out there in social media. So I have to start with social media because there's so much research on the topic now, and it's such a huge part of the society. We have to start to limit our exposure. Now, I'm not one of those people who's going to tell you that social media is all bad. I don't think anything is all good or anything is all bad. But the usage of it is the issue. And with children, we can limit what they watch. I remember growing up, even on TV, we had parental controls, and we still have them now. But I remember I couldn't watch certain things on TV. And now we can limit what they watch and also limit the time. You get so much social media time per day. Having real conversations, having them go out there and play with children their age, or even as adults, spending time with people that love you and want to spend time with you and enjoy being around you, and you enjoy being around as well, instead of always being on social media. Do I have social media platforms? Obviously, I'm talking on YouTube right now. I have an Instagram, I have TikTok, but they're all used for my business. Even my social page, I'm barely on it. I have to limit myself. I have one day a week where I detox myself from all these things, and I spend time in church, and I spend time with my family members, and I spend time with friends, and I step away from the social media world. And sometimes we need that detox. We cannot wait for Lent once a year to say we're going to detox from social media and all stimuli. It needs to be a constant part of our weekly routine, or daily and our weekly routine. And that's where I want us to begin. Now we're going to talk about increased stress. See, modern lifestyles have really been characterized by increased stress levels. There's work pressure, financial concerns, social expectations. And a lot of times there's this acute stress that happens in the moment. But over time, this leads to chronic stress. And some people like to, or some experts, I would say, may like to separate acute stress from chronic stress. But a lot of times it begins with that acute stress, and constant acute stress leads to chronic stress. So we have to identify that, because then this can lead to a lot of poor effects on your mental health, and it lead to depression. It lead to You need not even low energy. In fact, our thoughts affect our overall health. Not just our mental health, but our mental health impacts our physical health. It's like that mind body connection. It's all connected. If you want to be healthy, it's really starts with what you tell yourself, which in your mind, what you constantly repeat. How many positive and negative thoughts do you have throughout the day? In fact, research shows that most people have more negative than positive thoughts. So when we talk about stress, there are many things I can talk about. There's the internal stress, oxidative stress as well. And then there's the external stress, which are things outside of us. But it all starts with identifying what are these areas and work on these areas. But yeah, again, you have to start with identifying what are these areas of stress. Do you have people in your life that stress you out? I'm not saying you should get rid of everyone, but you may have to limit that exposure. There's some people you do have to get rid of. And I've done that. There are situations that you're in. You can't always get out of your situation, but maybe you can create a plan to help you to get out of that situation. And again, having the right people in your life can help you to get out of those situations. Sometimes we're causing stress on ourselves by chasing things that we're not ready to have. And when we don't get them, we get stressed out. We anxious and depressed and, different levels of sadness, right? FOMO, that missing out that we're just talking about, which is also connected to social media because we're constantly seeing what others have. And instead of being satisfied where we are, we want what they have. So increased levels of stress in this modern day, fast paced society where we don't stop and smell the roses. We don't stop and appreciate the things that we have really and truly impacts our overall health. Reduce physical activity. There's actually a lot of research on this as well. See, when we live a sedentary lifestyle, it can cause a lot of issues for us with our stress levels. In fact, growing up, I was always taught that exercise reduces endorphins. And this is before I even got into the field, right? So exercise is very good for your health. It even helps about rebalancing your hormones and your neurotransmitters. Exercise is important, and you don't have to go out there and go like I go crazy in the paint, right? When I'm working out, but sometimes even 30, 45 minutes, a few times a week can really help you. Have you ever been playing? That's a form of exercise. Going on a bike ride with family and friends, that's a form of exercise. Swimming at the beach, these are all forms of exercise. And regular activity can truly impact your health in so many ways. With the reverse of that is by not getting activity, then you can impact your mental health, even your overall health, in negative ways. Next one, I probably should have started with this, but it's poor sleep habits. See, sleep impacts so many things in us. And we have to realize that, a lot of times we say matter over mind, or my show is called the Matter Over Mind Experience, but I'm not going to get into that right now. But poor sleep habits, right? Because yes, we can think positive thoughts, and that's very important. I'm not diminishing that at all. We need to step away from energy suckers. But at the same time, if we don't get nightly quality sleep, it's very hard to think positive thoughts. And I've seen it within myself and my clients as well. And there are individuals I've worked with where I've just changed their sleep patterns. And by changing their sleep patterns, they're happier. Oftentimes we go on vacation and we're more tired than before we went on vacation, that we need a vacation from our vacation. And we're not happy. So when we go on vacation, sometimes you can do a staycation or a vacation where you actually get some book time for rest and relaxation, book time for sleep. We live in a society where we boast about how much sleep we don't do and don't get. I grew up in Jamaica. I used to hear the saying, and I think I've heard it in the US as well: I'll sleep when I'm dead. Well, if if you're not getting enough sleep, you're leading yourself to death even faster. So if you're combating mental health issues and you're trying to have a positive mindset, you need to get quality sleep. I have an entire article on how to get quality sleep on zecohealth.com. Check it out and read it. It's helped thousands of people, and I'm sure it can help you as well. And then sleep impacts mental health, but it helps so many aspects of your physical health as well. And it helps you to have the energy to do things that you love. You know, when you wake up from a nice night of sleep, you just feel amazing. I have one day a week, which is the same day I detox from social media, and it's called the Sabbath, where I go to church, I spend time with the Lord. But that's the day I sleep the most, sleep the best. I get the best quality sleep. And oftentimes after church, I come home and I take a nap. Quality sleep, it changes your life. Well, that doesn't give me an excuse to not get sleep the rest of the week, because I still get sleep the rest of the week. But that one day a week is like my reset day. And it helps me, helps my mental, my physical, emotional, and spiritual health. The last thing I want to talk about is stigma and accessibility, right? Because even though there's growing awareness of mental health issues, there's a lot of stigma surrounding it. Some people don't even think they're real. Some people just think, oh, this needs to toughen up. And especially in smaller cultures, I grew up in Jamaica, it's still a lot of people don't believe in mental health struggles. They think, oh, this piece is just, stubborn. And a lot of times when we struggle, including myself, we are afraid to talk to someone else. We're afraid to open up and be ourselves because of the stigma and the fear of being rejected. And nobody likes to be rejected. And that is also one of the big issues. And let me tell you something. I don't care if the people around you are not accepting you, are not listening to you. For your health, find someone who will. Not everyone can afford a therapist. Not everyone can afford a counselor. But find someone who will. And you look hard enough, you will. Sometimes you can build up the courage by listening to podcasts. Wink, the Math Over Mind experience. I don't know if I winked properly, that's a while ago, but the Math Over Mind experience. There's so many wonderful podcasts that can help you. There are mantras as well, and there are podcasts even on YouTube you can listen to. It gives you positive mantras every day. Tell you that you're not alone. You're not by yourself. You might feel like you are, especially if you're in a society or a culture that doesn't believe in mental health issues. But you're not alone. And there are people out there who love you and accept you, and those are people that you need to be around. So please, don't be afraid. This transformation specialist, Narado, Zeco, Powell, I really hope that everything that I talked about today is going to impact you. It's going to help you to identify what you're struggling with. It could be all those areas. And you'll be able to work on them and improve your mental, physical, and emotional health. I love you, fam. Go out there and love your world.